Good morning, Kinders. Happy Tuesday, April 7th. It is day 11 of remote learning. We only have a short week this week, so I've packed you in with several things. So today you have 6 tasks, although you can add on a 7th if you want a little extra practice with subtraction. All right, let's jump in. First, we have our handwriting. I hope that every day your handwriting is getting a little neater, that you're going slowly and making all the letters correctly, and that your words are starting to look like my words. Okay, so we have our name, and then our sentence for today, which says, Jesus suffered to free us from sin. This is Holy Week, remember, so we should really be focusing on the sacrifice that Jesus made for us. So you want to write that sentence once in print, and then once in cursive, and then here's 3 words for you to practice extra today. The word to, like I'm going to something, to, either below or next to, print and cursive, us, and from. From is one that tricks kids, so I figured we'd throw that in there since it was in our sentence today. So remember, we want to write all of this as neatly as we can, either next to the words or under the words, sentences underneath, and then come back to these words a few times today if you can, so that you can start to recognize TO says to, FROM says from, okay? That's job 1. Job 2 is your ACK words. So this is just writing those words 4 times each. This one says back, jack, pack, and then these have blends on the front, snack, and track. So you can either write them next to or underneath again, and then you need to go back and color the A, C, K for the ACK family. So color ACK on all of those words. And that's job 2. Job 3 should be pretty simple. You should have your page with nouns from yesterday. And now today we're going to go back and add what are called adjectives. And adjectives are descriptive words that tell us about nouns. So the simplest way to do that is just to make each thing one color, and then you can write a color. I'll do that on my first one so that you can see it. So if I go back and make my table brown, then in my rectangle, I can try to sound out the word brown. So here's my brown table. Now I'll get my pencil and sound out brown. So I have a brown table. Now maybe I want to go here and I want to say that I have a full glass. So I would sound out That's 2 L's. Okay? So I have a brown table. See how it's telling me about my table? I have a full glass. And then down here, I could say that I have a snowy mountain. Do you see how these adjectives are telling me more? It's not just a plain mountain, it's a snowy mountain. And then my last one, I can do a red apple. Now remember, since you're kinders, you can always copy mine if you want to do that. Or if you want to make up your own, that's even better, okay? You can think of different ways. You could have a juicy apple. You could have a rotten apple. You could have a half-eaten apple. Okay, you have lots of options. All that you need to make sure you're doing is using descriptive words to tell me about your nouns. So I'm going to make this red, even though I grabbed my scarlet crayon. Okay, so all you need to do today is go in and add 4 adjectives. Now maybe you need mom or dad to help you, or again, you can copy mine if you did the same nouns as me yesterday. So any word that describes it, snowy, red, full, brown, tiny, big, silly, crazy, all of those things work, okay? That is your 3rd job. Your 4th job is your black book, and I need to tell you a quick story about Greece. So if you remember, the Persians had tried to invade Greece, remember, and Athens and Sparta were like, we're not just gonna surrender, and they went and fought them. Okay, and then there was the Battle of Marathon, where Phidippides had to run and tell that they had actually won. So the Persians did not give up, and they actually had new kings come in and try to fight them. And in 480 BC, so this is about 10 years after the Battle of Marathon, there was a new king, King Xerxes, and he says, I'm coming to get you. And a lot of the city-states say, okay, we'll be on your team. So Athens and Sparta are like, we're not going to do that. We're going to fight against you. They don't want to give up. And Xerxes says, surrender your arms. That means give me all your weapons. and there's a king of Sparta, King Leonidas, okay? And he says, come and take them. Ooh, so that means we're going to have a fight. Now, Xerxes invades in the north. So he's up here in Greece, and he's starting to move down. And if you remember, here's Athens, here's Sparta. They're in the south, but they don't want the Persians to keep coming south. So this battle is going to happen right here at a place called Thermopylae, okay? And they send some troops up there, but not a lot. So they've got some troops here at Thermopylae, and Thermopylae, if you can tell, is right on the edge of the sea. And they found a spot where there was a steep mountain. Let me go this way. A steep mountain and then the sea and just a little bit of space. So Xerxes was trying to get through there to get to the south of Greece, okay? And King Leonidas, he parks all his guys, and he doesn't have that many. He has about 7,000 people altogether in a little tiny spot there. And they used to fight with shields and spears and swords, and they just park themselves there, and they're ready to fight. And here come the Persians, and they have so many more fighters. They have 70,000 or maybe even 300,000. It was a lot, which means that for every one Athenian and Spartan who was there were at least 10 Persians. Okay, so they way outnumber them. But we know that the Spartans especially are great fighters. They stand their ground for several days, but they're starting to lose people. And after 2 days, they decide we need to retreat. We need to go south and get ready to fight down there. But Leonidas, he's a Spartan, and Spartans did not give up. And he says, I'm staying here. So he stays there with a really small army and continues to try to fight the Persians. But something terrible happened. A Greek man was a traitor. That means instead of defending his people, he went to the other side and told Xerxes a path to go around them. So now he had some soldiers here, and if we think of the Greeks here, he got some to come over here. So now they could fight him from both sides. So King Leonidas did his best to hold his ground. They were incredibly courageous, but they did all die in that battle, okay? And then because of that, Xerxes and his men were able to come farther south and expand their empire. Okay, so this was a really sad battle in that they lost, but they displayed such courage that we haven't forgotten about it, okay? Now, there's another battle I want to tell you about fast. So this was Thermopylae in 480. Shortly after that, there was a battle right here near Athens on the sea. So while Xerxes was moving with his men on foot, he also had ships moving down. And this is right down here at Piraeus, okay? And they had all these ships, and they lured them into what are called straits, which is where the land gets closer together, so there's not a lot of water. And they got the ships to come in there. There are tons of huge ships, and then those ships couldn't move because the space was tight. And so they were able to just start smashing these ships. And there were 300 of them that they were able to smash, which made Xerxes have to redo his plan. He was going to keep fighting, and he had to go back to Persia, and it gave the Greeks time to get together and get ready to fight him. And this was really the last huge battle of the war. So the war went on for 30 more years, but this was the last decisive battle, and actually the first major ship, or what we call naval battle in history. And that was called the Battle of Salamis, okay? So today in our black book for kinders, we're just gonna go ahead and put Thermopylae in there. So you will need your book, okay? So I've got my line, and we'll start with our sentence. So we are going to say, the Greeks displayed. They didn't win, but they did show courage. Courage at Thermopylae. Okay? So there we have the Greeks displayed courage at Thermopylae. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw the sea out here. I'm going to draw a big steep mountain right here, okay? And then we're going to put a bunch of our Greek little soldiers. Oh, sorry, the light wasn't good right there. So I've got my mountain. I've got the sea out here. And then there's just a little bit of land right here that they're defending. I'm going to draw some of my Greek soldiers. They have big old shields. Okay, this is how they would fight. They'd have their shields all together. They'd kind of turn into like a turtle. The Romans copied this later. We'll learn about them next year, okay? And they would have their swords and their shields. They'd have their helmets on. Sorry, my guys are really small. I'll try to have swords so you can see them. Okay, here's my little Greek guys. Okay, they've got their shields and swords and helmets. They're not happy. This is a big deal. And then you've got the Persians, and they shot arrows. So they would stand a little further off and shoot arrows towards them, okay? So they would also have their helmets on. They would also not be too excited. This is war, it's not a fun thing, okay? So there, you can draw as many Persians and as many little Greeks at Thermopylae as you want. Remember, what's important is that you have fewer Greeks because there were so many more Persians at the battle. And then we need to show the courage. And yes, boys, I know you're going to ask, you can have a few dead guys, but nothing gross, okay? That's your 4th job. Your 5th job is reading today. Hope those little books are going great. And then your 6th job is math. So let's look at our math page. So you just have a math page today, unless you want to do a couple extra problems like yesterday. So here it is. You need your name and date at the top. Then you have 4 story problems, okay? So this one says, Catherine has 3 yellow flowers and 1 red flower. So you should be in the habit now. In the rectangle, you're going to draw what the story is about. Remember, they don't have to be fancy. You just need to draw them. So 3 yellow flowers and 1 red flower. And I'm going to color in my red so we can see that it's different. So 3 yellows and 1 red. And then it says, how many flowers does Catherine have altogether? So if this is my box, remember what I would like you guys to do is write your equation down here. So you need to write 3 plus 1 equals, and then you count them, and that equals 4. Okay? So that's our first one. Our second one says, Davia has 4 blue circles and 2 green circles. So draw 4 blue circles, 2 green circles, and then write your equation. 4 plus 2 equals how many? And then here, Samir has 1 red crayon, 2 blue crayons, and 1 green crayon. So this one should say 1 plus 2 plus 1. And then you find your answer. On the back, we get to add up dominoes. So this should be, these are pluses. We're not doing minus, okay? You write how many dots on each side and then how many total. So here I would write 2 plus 1. Then I count 1, 2, 3. You will notice that in each row there's something special going on. And I hope that you can maybe see it right here from the picture or tell it to your mom after you're done, okay? So like this one, 4 plus 1, 1 plus 4. Be paying attention. And then if you want, if you finish all that and you want a little extra practice, you can get out your cards again and do subtraction. Tomorrow we will be doing subtraction and addition. So if you need a little extra practice on subtraction, now's the time. So you take 2 cards, remember, you have to put the bigger one first in subtraction, at least in kindergarten we do. And then you would write your equation. So I had 8 minus 4, okay? And then I would need to draw 8 dots, nice and neat, not too small. There's my 8, double check me. And then I cross out 4 of them, and I write how many are left. And my answer should be 4, okay? So that, parents, if you felt like your kiddo needed a little extra practice, you could just do a few of those today. If they crushed it yesterday, then you can just do the math page and be done, okay? So let's quickly recap. Job 1 was your handwriting, neat letters. Job 2 is your ACK words. Make sure to color A-C-K. C and K love to go on the end of words together, okay? Job 3 is adding your adjectives to your nouns. Job 4 was your black book about the Battle of Thermopylae. Job 5 is reading, and job 6 is math. All right, that's it for Tuesday. I love you. God bless you. Goodbye.